something that I've pondered for the longest time. It just seems as though the quality of an animated movie or series is correlated with how many companion characters are present in the cast. From what I've seen, this is primarily the case with cartoons. But that's not all. What appears to be the ultimate determining factor for a cartoon's value is the purpose for having this many sidekicks take up any screen time at all in the first place. The two characteristics I've noticed among them in bad cartoons is that they are either partnered with each other and not the main character for some reason, or that they aren't always particularly useful from a logical standpoint, even if they're framed that way in the narrative. Sometimes, and somehow, they're somewhere in between. Examples can be found in The King and I, The Return of Jafar, Thumbelina, The Swan Princess, and Mulan 2. I'll admit, I actually like some of these movies, but I'm not blind to their issues. My personal theory is that these characters are meant to serve as a distraction from what is an otherwise usually pointless or poorly thought out plot. The creators have so little faith in their products that they instead rely on immature humor and trope-tastic gimmicks in hopes that people will just go along with them anyway. The idea behind creating conflict is to develop characters and strengthen themes that we can learn from or speak to, not to needlessly pad out an already lacking story. Much to my disappointment, although I'm sure others would agree as well, conflict in these cartoons either boil down to an inconvenience caused by someone's stupidity, or an issue, or more accurately, an annoyance, that either undermines the main conflict or simply has nothing to do with it and goes nowhere. It's even more disappointing when flaws like these show up in sequels to successful movies, as I've previously listed, and we all know that there's plenty of those to go around for a lifetime. Studios regularly coast off goodwill and put characters in situations only children under the age of 2 would find relatable. Cinderella 2, Dreams Come True, definitely comes to mind. And this all diminishes what made them great in their original stories. And even that's being charitable. It's easier to chug out media with painfully digestible content fast to the preschool community, because its members are usually the most impressionable. However, this is more detrimental for the same reason. Sure, money will be made, but children's critical faculties won't be respected. And they're at that age where learning is at its most critical point of development. Not to mention, this adds to parents' potentially questionable spending habits at large. Thankfully, many of these time wasters fell into obscurity, and the only time they're mentioned is when internet critics decide to laugh at them or cry because of them, for the audience's viewing pleasure. I'm guilty of this too. That's the only good thing to come out of 2D animation's decline, I'd say. With that being said, the multiple sidekicks in bad movies trend has and will continue to rear its ugly head in the franchises that are still ongoing today, as well as standalones, whether 2D animated or otherwise. History has a tendency to repeat itself, and we've undoubtedly been seeing it with the likes of Cars, Food Fight, and Norm of the North. Think of it this way. Resources that we're essentially paying for, hello taxes, are being wasted on these characters that don't leave a lasting impression on us anyway. Do you want your money to be spent that way? Of course not. Advocate for characters that aren't insulting to the craft, nor our children. As the great YouTuber Swoozy would say, we can get that money back, we can even get our energy back, but we definitely never can get time back. So we better use it wisely.